All right, you did it. You finally pulled the trigger and grabbed yourself an Xtool laser engraver. Congratulations. The box showed up, you unpacked it, put it all together, and now you're staring at it thinking, okay, what now? Well, this is where the fun really starts. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to get rolling with the Xtool Creative Space, or XCS if you want to sound like the cool kids out there. We're going to cover those basics, the stuff I feel you should know to get going on your first project, like a quick tour of the menus, the toolbars, what's the difference between cutting, engraving, and marking, how to dial in your settings, how to update the software, and some of the cool features that make XCS such a powerful but super easy tool to design, edit, and control your laser projects. It is built to be simple, beginner-friendly, and is packed with features to help you get great results, even if you never used a laser before. So let's get started, shall we? So here we have our desktop. We're gonna launch here XCS. So here it is, XCS. As you first come in, you have different sections here. You got the home, MySpace, Design Find, Support Center, Material, EasySet. And at the bottom, you got Shop. On the top, you got like little reminders from Xtool as to what is coming next as far as, you know, what type of holidays. They want to remind you that Teachers Appreciation Day is coming up. You can click here next. Happy Mother's Day, right? Don't forget. So as makers, we want to know what's happening, right? You got the recently heading here, and this is where your most recent projects are here waiting for you to pick up where you left off. I've been using my laptop mostly for my work because I'm in the garage. This is my desktop. So the trending now, they are projects that were uploaded by makers like you and I, people that were so happy with their projects. They thought, you know, I'm going to share it with people like myself, with you. So if you want to make the same project, they made it available here. If you click on more, you can come and download them. You know, make sure you take a look at the license available to you, because some of these ones can be free to use for you to kind of, you know, make some gifts just for your own purpose. If you want to sell some of this stuff, you got to check that license, make sure that it's ready for commercial use. They will explain that in the project itself. So let's open this mask PayPal. For example, this Mother's Day pen holder. You put the pen there. That's neat. I think there are 2 layers here, right? So more pictures, you see? So they take the pictures, they upload them. If you like it, you would come here, you click on download, or you can open it directly into XCS. Again, we X out, and we're back here at the home screen. Prime projects are basically projects that are there available for you to buy. They all have a little price tag there. Next, we got MySpace. So this is the cloud area where you can save your files. I think this is a pretty good way of moving files around. Say, for example, I design my stuff here on my desktop, my shop. I have a laptop there, or my iPad. I was using the iPad for a few of these projects. So you can save all your stuff here. Instead of saving it locally to your PC, you would just save it here. And then you go to your garage, and from there you connect to XCS, and you can come to MySpace. The file will be available there as well. So this makes moving of files, sharing of files, very easy. If you click on try it now, you got to log in, create an account. And of course, I believe there is a 500 megabyte, which I think for most XCS files is okay, unless you start getting fancy with large pictures and the like. You're going to be running out of space pretty soon. So next we have Design Find. That's what we were talking about. The repository of all sorts of projects, premiums, blogs, etc., etc. You got collections of community created projects here, feature collections, premium collections, etc., etc. So you got for you stuff that they figure you might like, right? Some is a mix of paid, others are a mix of community created ones, free for you to use to do whatever. This is really cool stuff to come and just get some ideas. You don't know how to do something, you want to learn how to make it. This is a great place to come and start your journey. They put all the files here available to you, paid and free. Don't forget to check the license. I keep telling you that. So again, you can go back out like this, or X out of Design Find from the X here. Then you got here the Support Center that takes you to Xtool's support page. So you can find here all sorts of things related to your machine, from how-tos to product support, tutorials. These videos will take you right through the, how to clean your machine, how to replace the module. You can download different files for your machine, drivers, and the frequently asked questions, and all sorts of resources. You're running into problems with XCS, with your machine, you can always come here to look for those solutions, for those troubleshooting ideas, for maintenance and support files. This one is the material EasySet. Sometimes we struggle with, some materials that we don't know what is needed to cut. These are machines suitable for this material. Mine is the S1. Down here, you have the drop down. So you select S1. In my case, I got the 40 watt. You're going to use it on the base plate. And I want to know, engraving wise, what's needed. And you got whatever image here to kind of let you know this is what it looks like. So 20 by 250. So 250, 20. So they're saying that's the one that works the best for the S1 40 watts. You go back, 6mm birch plywood, but we're going to change it to the S1 40 watt. I want to know what it takes to engrave. According to the folks out on Xtool, they figured 40 power, 300 speed. So here's the image that kind of tells you this, the guy, 300 by 40. Again, use this as your starting point. So that's the material EasySet library. So then at the bottom, you got the shop. So it opens the shop, the xtool.com shop. So yeah, I mean, you can really hurt the bank, the wallet coming out here, but they got it all. So take a look at some of this stuff. You want to get another machine? You come here. You're looking for different materials, right? Look at this. You can buy tumblers, glow-in-the-dark stainless steel tumblers. Wow, check that out. So that is the main screen, right? So if you ever lost, you just click on the home. Here you can check for updates, right? So it will tell me, hey, you forgot to do this update. A lot of new stuff. I'll just install it later, right? So here's where you would open your projects. In my case, for example, let's say I've saved something in my laptop. I want to bring it back here. I can open it from here, or you can start a new project. All right, we click on the bell. You got all the information here, messages. They want to share with you the latest and greatest, sales and what have you. So it's all here. Once you're done, you can mark them all as read. You can click on the bell again to get back out. This guy will show you here whether or not you're running a project. Say you're in the middle of running a project, but you wanted to kind of see what else is out here. It takes 20 minutes, 1 hour to run your project. You get a little bored. You come out here to your home screen. Well, you want to go back into your project. You click here and your project access processing will show here. Let's see. You click on new project to start a brand new project. Depending on your machine speed, it will take a little bit of a second here to open. So here you have it. The Xtool canvas, right? So this is canvas 1. You forgot something, you want to go back to the main screen, right? To the home screen. You can click on the little home. It will bring you right back, right? So you land right here in the untitled canvas for XCS. You'll see a few buttons here on the top, on the left, and also on the right. So there's a lot of information here. My machine is the S1 40 watts. So if you guys been watching the previous videos on the canvas and all that work, I do all that stuff with my Xtool S1 40 watt laser. So you see mentions of that here on the top, here on the right. So we're gonna stop at the top here in the main menu with the Xtool logo. You got file. In file, you can start a new document, a new untitled document. So if I click here, you'll see again, untitled. If you want to work on multiple files at the same time, you would take that approach. For now, we're sticking just with this guy, right? If you notice, you have this little grayed out information. Those are your shortcuts. So the guys from XCS thought, we'll give you the option of clicking and clacking, but I can also hold down the control key on your keyboard and press N, and you will do the same thing. So I'm going to press down control, hold it, and then I'm going to press N. And it does the same thing, right? So you'll see those shortcuts throughout the different menus because, they figure as you get more familiar with the software, you don't want to be looking for where's that menu, where's that. You will remember the shortcuts. You can open projects, import images, close the document, save as, and then rename and export as an SVG. And then you have edit, where you can copy, paste, cut, delete, select all, undo, and redo. Now, you will see that not only they're giving you the option of using your keyboard to do some of the shortcuts, but also, for example, the undo and redo, they're also here at the top of the screen. This guy's from XCS to have this the most used type of commands or clicks from the menus right at your disposal. So they put it right at top. For example, you have the save here, right? But it's also here at the top. And this little cloud here is what we were talking about earlier. That cloud space, right? My space. Arrange. Now, a lot of this is grayed out because we don't have anything on the canvas. Same with the object menu, text, view, right? Help, and here's your user guide. I wanted to stop here on the settings. As you come here, you can change the units from millimeters to inches, languages, etc., etc. But here at the bottom is where you can also do the update. If I click on update here, it will go out and open a browser window and start downloading the update automatically for me as soon as I click here. I like to have that control. Sometimes when you do updates in the middle of a production batch or you're working on, certain things, if it's doing it automatically, you might introduce some variables that, come and mess up with things. So I'd rather have the control of doing the updates when I'm done. So that's why I don't check this. Now, if you trust the system, you're just working for yourself, doing small projects and the like, and you don't mind being interrupted or you don't mind if things get changed a little too much, you can click it and keep it automatically there to get, those download packages installed automatically. Yeah, there are other options here that are a little more advanced when you're doing troubleshooting, where you're, specifying how your files come in, etc., etc. I'll let you figure those out, but I never messed with that. If I come here is to change, say, the units. I'm not very good with metrics yet, with the metric system yet. So, sometimes I switch it. I keep my cheat sheet handy just in case. So we cover here the main menu, right? My canvas name, right? So this canvas, this should be the same size of your laser. In my case, of my S1, right? So when I'm working on things, say I'm working on engraving a larger, let's just make a rectangle, like a box. So let's say this takes up all that space, and I'm doing some fancy hello and, another little good to see you. Let's say I'm engraving that, right? This is for, say, the top of my box. But if I want to work on the bottom or the sides, I would have to move this out of the way and then make another, side, or if it's the bottom in the same size, it's probably not a big deal. But to keep things straight, they give you the option of opening a new canvas, another canvas. So you go here to canvas, you click on the plus, and you can create a secondary canvas of, say, one of the sides that you want to do, or the other side, right? So you put it here, and then you start engraving here your hello, and then here you do another hello or whatever. So with that, we keep the workflow a little cleaner. You can go back to the top if you want to, again, this is a box or a book. It could be the front of the book or the back of the book, or a cutting board if you want to go that route. The canvas concept is just to keep your workflow, your sanity, I guess. Start working on bigger projects, things tend to start getting a little more, crowded. But as I work with smaller type of things, or I don't engrave many sides, I'm just doing canvases for the most part, or small engravings of cutting boards. It's not really something I use. You can also rename this canvas, bottom. This is the top of my box, let's say, and that's kind of like the idea. And if you don't want to use it, you can always delete it. Done. Let me close it. Just to close it, I can just click on it again. Process on base. This tells the machine what I'm actually doing. If I'm just doing engravings the way I normally do them, I do them on the base plate of my laser, so I keep that selected. Anyway, so you got the chuck, use the rotary attachment. Let's say you want to engrave some glasses, tumblers. You will come here to select that. You tell that the machine that you're using that option, or if you want to engrave curved materials, or you have the conveyor feeder, or you got them screen preparations to print bags or t-shirt. I just do engravings on the base plate. And if we continue here, you have the obtain background through the mobile XCS app. If your laser doesn't have a camera, you can download the application to your phone, and through that application, you take a picture and it will act as if you have a camera inside the laser. This is the marking processing area. Let's pretend this is the base plate at the laser. You have your engraving. So you will use the marking to tell the laser, this is the starting point, the end, the other angle, the other angle. You mark with the module manually. The same thing with the distance. That's when the module comes down onto the surface of your material, and that little needle comes down, measuring the distance between your lens and the top of that material that you put on the base of your laser. This is the button for the distance. Here's if you want to do it manually. Override the system and you tell it it's a little closer, it's a little further, depending on what you want to do. The unknown materials section is where you can build your own library for the materials that you use, along with recommended settings for specific materials given to you by XCS. So in the home menu, you had this material EasySet. Well, this is kind of the same inside this working area for your file. You have the same option. Go here and you're looking for that basswood 3mm and you say confirm. So now the system says, okay, so this is 50, 100 power wise. If you can open here, you'll see that this is where they recommend you to be at. Listen, if you made it this far into the video, first off, thank you so much. If you're finding this video helpful and want to support the channel, I've got some affiliate links down in the description. They cost you nothing extra, but they do help me keep making videos like this. And if you want even more content, behind the scenes stuff, or early access to my YouTube videos, I also have Patreon and YouTube memberships available. I've been posting exclusive vlogs and uploading some of my full videos there before they go public. So if that sounds like fun, check it out. Links are below. All right, let's get back to it. Let's go back to the left. This place is where you can import an image. This image was my first canvas engraving. When you have a picture like this one, right? And different options show up now for this, right? So I can click out, there's nothing there. I click on it. Now it offers me a lot of different options here. Same thing when I do this hello. If I click here, I don't see much. But if I click back on the text, now it opened up, right? So this is where I change the font, the style of the font. Let me just bring it to Engrave so you can see it a little easier, right? Hello, right? The size, right? And the different options there for text, right? If you click on the picture now, you got all these options to edit, to rotate, to change the size, because I can change it here, make it smaller. But let's say I really have a problem with real estate and I gotta be very exact. Well, here I can plug in, instead of 199 millimeters, I know that is, say, 125, 124, okay, 124. And I don't know if you notice, I adjusted the width, but the system automatically adjusted the height. So let me just show you again, right? So now it's 208, and we said, no, 124. So it knows, right? So automatically knows it's a square, so it did it like that. That is because it's keeping this aspect ratio locked. So if you have that locked, you will always keep the same aspect ratio. Sometimes my canvas might be, not a perfect square, so I need to kind of be a little more creative. I know that it stays at 154 millimeters width, but the height needs to be, adjusted because it's a little longer. So I can just go like this. It will not change the width, right? So it will give me that freedom to modify the ratio, the aspect ratio, to my liking or to my needs. Now, if I bring it back, right, now it locks it again. So if I start messing with it again, moving it up, it moves everything all together. This is a really cool picture. Again, if I change my mind, your best friend, Control Z, right? And it brings it back to a little square. You can edit. You can use the edit. The trace, normally I just use this, if ever. So let's say I'm happy with it. I move it to the side here, right? So now supposedly this is the same picture, just traced. You can create filters. That's it. Adjust. Now here's what I use very often when I'm doing my engraving of canvases, right? So I often don't mess around too much with some of the options. So sharpness is the one that I move. Grayscale, this is already black and white, so it's not needed too much. But because I'm doing canvases painted black at the end, I got to invert it. So again, depending on your machine, this will be a little quicker, a little less. So yeah, you can come here and get fancy with your pictures. You want to modify the contrast a little bit. And crop it. Let's say your canvas is a little too small. You can come here, freestyle, and you know, do what you need to do. Let's say I just want to keep a very close area there with my little walker there. I can just do that, center him. And now when I click save, cut my picture just to fit what I wanted. Let me just bring it back to the previous version of this picture. And there it is, right? That's the crop. And again, offset. It creates a border. I've used this before because sometimes my canvases are not straight. I create a border just to kind of fool the eye. And here's the easiest way to create a border using the offset tool. This T is for text, and you can place it anywhere. They give you the hello there. How are you? So that was the text. Let's say I want to put a box around it. There's my box. Let's say I want that box within a circle, right? I hold down my shift to make a perfect circle. And then there you have it. There's my circle, the intake line. And there's my line, right? You got the vector tool. So this is a little more advanced. You can actually draw things, you know, if you're talented like that. So I didn't get really fancy, but you know, it's there. This section is for the shapes. If I click on it, you will get this little library of basic shapes, borders, plant, animals, festival, pattern, parts, and other. What is really cool about this is that often you had to go fishing for this online, buy it from Etsy, or get it from, you know, someone nice enough to make it available. The basic shapes is that, just some basic shapes. Next, you got the borders. Then you got plants. Look at this stuff. So you open the menu, and then you got all the stuff here available to you. My wife is crazy about plants, so I'm always looking for nice little patterns to engrave and, you know, surprise her with some of this stuff. And animals, this is cool. Again, you know, you go out there, you start shopping around, you know, you can go crazy. It's all here, you know. Next one is the applications. You can get really fancy here. You can make grids, right? Circular arrays. Here's your material testing. Code generation, right? So you can type up, say, your address for your social media or another, you know, website of your liking, and you can create whatever code you want to. Let's say that pending. I don't have this website yet. I can say save, and there it is. So you can make like a contact us little sign there on a 3mm plywood, and you can put the name of your business, and people can just use their phones, scan it, end up on your business or your social media. So the batch fill, this is some automation. It's really neat stuff. If you have a lot of stuff that you need to engrave, you put them side by side. You can, you know, frame the material and then just let it run. And then the measurement, right? If you want to measure distance. So I want to measure the distance between these two edges, right? Comes in handy, right? And then you come here to the design find. Again, this is the same option you have in the home area, right? So you have access to the different products that people have uploaded, some stuff for sale, some stuff for you to use, right? You X out right out of there. And AI. AI is kind of cool. Of course, it's all over the place. You can describe the image that you want, and then it will create for you that image. It will try to get as close as it can from your description, but there's a bit of back and forth always. You also have, this is not free. You also have a limited amount of times that you can use this. You need to get some credits, right? So each image costs 6 credits, generating 2 for a total of 12 credits. So you can purchase this credit, or you can participate in different activities within, Design Find, and that's how you earn more credits. Down here, this is your select tool. So you have your box that you created, right? With your select tool, this moves it around like that, right? That's the default. Earlier, you saw me clicking here so that I can move my canvas back to the center. Then you have the layers and object list, right? So layers are a way of organizing. For example, if I have this box, right? And let's say I'm cutting. I'm going to cut something. The color that I use for cutting is red. All my cutting is always red. If I'm going to engrave my engravings. But my engravings, I always do blue for my engraving. A shape here. As Mother's Day is coming, right? And I just want to mark it or score it. I will use a different color because that way I know what I'm doing in each, right? So it's easy for me to come in here, see this project, and I can tell you, okay, I'm cutting, I'm engraving, and I'm scoring here. Cutting, pretty straightforward. The laser will cut through the material. Pretty straightforward. Based on the parameters you set, right? Based on the power, it will cut. Engraving, the same laser, the same light, is just less power, perhaps more speed. You're just engraving. You're not going through the material to cut it, right? So that's just your engraving. And in this case, for example, they're using 20 for power, 250 for speed. But marking or scoring, you're using less power. So it will kind of draw on the surface. So it won't be very deep type of engraving. It's a lighter penciling in, depending on how deep you go with the engraving. So that was here at the bottom. That was layer and object list. And you got the colors here. Now, what is neat about it, let's say I have a ton of this stuff here, right? Let's just kind of make a few, copy a few of these boxes. We're going to make it a little smaller. And I have a bunch of these ones here, whatever. So instead of going one by one, changing it manually one by one, I could come here, select the red. Again, red is my favorite color for cutting. You can choose whatever color you want. So as I clicked on the red here, it selected every red item from my canvas. So now I can change it here. That's an exaggeration, but from 50, sometimes you got to go a little bit hotter, right, to cut through. Now all of them got changed. The same thing could happen with the engraving. Bamboo, not a huge fan. This particular bamboo is giving me a hard time. I got to make a deeper engraving. I can come down here, click on the blue, and now I selected all the blues and everything can. So that's how I use the layering. That's the bottom right there, the layers. Then we got the right. You've seen this opening, closing. You can open and close it there if you want to have a little more real estate, right? Or you can open it to continue to work on things, right? So this is the area where we change the specifics of power, right? The speed, the pass. So, for example, we know now, thanks to the folks over there in Xtool, that the 3mm basswood plywood will score at 50 power, 100 speed for my machine. That's it. But let's say I run a test and I didn't like the 50 and 100. I want something a little more, a little stronger. Well, I would come here and I would up my power, or, I would up or lower my speed. So here's where I tell the system what to do. So if you open this up, they're recommending you for the scoring to do 150. That's the sweet spot for the folks over there at XCS. And let's say I want it a little lighter. I will come here to 140, right? Because I like this one better. And I would just either click it here or that's the way it was before, I change it here. But the beauty of using this material settings, let's just kind of stay with this 3mm basswood plywood. You know, I open it up and I say, you know what? I really like this one better, the way it came out. I can click on it and it will make the change for me. You got the engraving and you got the cut. You got to pay attention here because this will change everything. I have had a situation or two where I thought that I was cutting, but I never switched it from here. So you got to make sure that if you want to cut, you come here. Now, one thing I want to cover is this guy, output. So output is basically telling the machine, listen, whatever is selected as output, that's the stuff you got to work on. But let's say, for whatever reason, my example here didn't cut through. But that was the only problem. I was happy with the engraving. I was happy with the scoring. So what I can do is tell the machine, listen, this one was the only problem that I had cutting. I didn't move it from the base, so still there. It just didn't cut through. I could come here and select all of this stuff, right? And turn off the output. With that, I'm telling the machine basically, you know, all these guys, ignore all this guys. So you see, it's not outputting anymore, right? And from here, you know, I really want to cut, right? So leave that on. But this guy, you know, don't. And this guy also don't bother. Or I changed my mind. Let's just do everything again. All right, so I come back here and I can click on the output again. Because again, once it starts to get a little crowded, let's say I want to make more of these ones, right? I like them so much. I want to make more of them. You see, now it got really, really crowded. And of course, I want to focus on this one that didn't work for us. So let me just kind of make sure that it's not outputting. So indeed, it's not outputting. And that's how I use the output. Now, when you're happy and you want to commit, that's where you come in here and you do your framing. So framing basically assures me that the machine knows where to cut, where to engrave. If you're doing a lot of different engravings or cuttings, different shapes, different whatever, it's always good to make sure that the machine and you are on the same page so nobody gets confused. And then process, that will send it to the machine. That's it. There's another screen. I can't do it right now because I'm not connected, but there's another screen that will show you how long it takes to engrave, how long it will estimate that it will take to cut, etc., and then you commit from there. So at top here, like I told you before, we got the Xtool S1 40 watt, which is my machine. Here you can actually connect to the device. Here's the device settings and also some tutorials and user guides. Down here, you will see laser module position. That's checked. So if I was connected to my laser and I would move my module, you will see a little crosshair down here or whatever. As I move my module here, the crosshair will be here. So physically, as you're moving your module, it will display on this screen. So you know exactly where the laser would burn if you were to process it. This is the location for that module, you know, X and Y coordinates. And this is your zoom in, zoom out. Up in the top, like I said, you got your check for updates, your settings. You can get out of here too. You can quit here, or you can quit here. Yeah, so it's very powerful. XCS, you know, when I first started, I was using nothing but Lightburn, which is a great tool. I also paid for it, so I needed to make sure that I got a good use out of it. But then the more I play with XCS, the more I can do some of the straightforward, easy to do things that, you know, I don't need to run Lightburn for. This is connected to my machine right away, etc., etc. So yeah, that's the tool itself. Hey, if you're still here at the end of this video, seriously, thank you so very much. Spending over a half hour with me means a lot, and I hope you walk away with a solid understanding of how to get started with Xtool Creative Space. If this video helped, the best way you can support the channel is by hitting that like button and subscribing. It lets YouTube know the content is worth sharing. And if you want to go a step further, check out the links in the description. I've got affiliate links that help the channel at no cost to you. And if you're interested in exclusive content, early video releases, or behind the scenes stuff, my Patreon and YouTube memberships are open. Thanks again for sticking around. Now go fire up your laser and start making something awesome. I'll see you in the next one. So long.